What's up, everyone? It's the interview queen Alicia Toot here, and be sure to watch True Heel Heat.
You already know what time it is, man. The young goat in the building. Make sure you tune in to True Heel Heat podcast.
Oye, te habla tío Sabio Vega. This is Sabio Vega, and you watching True Heel Hit a mi manera o pa' la calle.
This is the knockout artist, Chris Hero. And if you're looking for some true heel heat, you better listen to them boys.
What's going on, everybody? This is your former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Once a champion, always a champion. Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. You're watching True Heel Heat podcast.
Hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. We are live on the True Hill Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Romeo's Twitter for our NJPW X Stardom Historic Crossover II review, discussing the latest NJPW co-promotional event with Stardom Historic Crossover II. And of course, to do that, I am joined by my esteemed colleague, the most positive NJPW fanatic out there, one of the best YouTubers when it comes to New Japan content. It is Miss Sonal. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I've literally just recovered from the show because obviously I had to go back and watch the women's match again because bloody hell, that was a very, very good card of matches. With, like, as many people say, a possible match. I mean, not possible match of the year candidate, like specifically for women's, but generally just an overall possible match of the year candidate.
Absolutely agree with you. Been seeing all the rave reviews for the match in question for sure, and so much that went down at Historic Crossover yesterday morning from Osaka Edion Arena. So another great show from Osaka, like we talked about last time with Power Struggle. So we're here to discuss it all, break it down all for all of you. We appreciate y'all if you are joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you are watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back. The simplest way possible is by dropping the thumbs up on this video. You can also share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you guys. Hear your thoughts on NJPW X Stardom Historic Crossover 2. So sound off in the live chat. We'll highlight as many of your comments as possible. But of course, if you're feeling generous, want to give back to what we do here, you could send a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to the contributors that we see on screen with us here. And you always appreciate the support. We got I Make Beats, I see already in the chat joining us today, saying what's good, guys, what's good, I Make Beats. And yeah, I think we came in with kind of like modest expectations of Historic Crossover. But yeah, I did not expect to have like a match that I would say like, oh, this is one of the best women's matches or best matches that I've seen all year. I wasn't expecting that out of this show, and I wasn't expecting more January 4th, January 5th matches being set up. So I think that was the main thing that I got from the show. Really focus on the ladies of Stardom and them having a presence in the Tokyo Dome that you get to see live, Sonal.
And honestly, the match announcement, because if anyone watched our preview, basically like SP3 knew this was happening. This is literally like whether somebody in the office is doing it or actually really SP3 is working for Stardom in New Japan and he's not telling us. He knew. He literally, and honestly, it's so exciting. Like I think that's the main thing you said is if you looked at the card, most of it was Stardom women. And I loved that because for someone who doesn't watch Stardom, who doesn't have time to watch them, this was the perfect insight into everything. And I felt like, because I listened with Japanese commentary, like even without understanding much, I felt like the women of Stardom like told me everything I needed to know about them with it. And I think that's amazing for a wrestler to have such a short time, but to be able to showcase yourself to someone who might not know anything about you.
Yeah, I think that's something that both New Japan and Stardom do very well, where you don't have to follow it all the time, but you can get back in with like one show and you just go from there, and then you can kind of follow along with the journey. Because I think even, Japanese commentary, English commentary, they do a nice job, and the performers themselves do a nice job of kind of filling in the blanks if this is your first time watching.
And can I say one thing I really enjoyed in the show is that they constantly had the info of the wrestlers pop up at the bottom, not just when they made their entrances, not just at the end, but during the match, which was really nice because whether you are a New Japan fan and you want to know about the Stardom wrestlers, or whether you're a Stardom fan who wants to know more about New Japan, it gives you that small like stuff. It had like the finishers, the date of births, their height, their weight for like most of them. And that was a really nice thing because I was sat there wondering like, well, how am I going to keep track of like who is who? But it was a really nice addition, and it was great. Like it made watching it so much easier.
Yeah, I always enjoy that about Stardom in general. Stardom in general, they usually have those little like bumpers where you get to see like the person's like date of birth and stuff like that, which is interesting and different from all the other wrestling promotions that I watch. I don't instantly get the information of, oh, this person is 20 years old. Like Momo Watanabe, they talked about her like she is like this veteran, and she is in Stardom because she's been there so long, but she's only 24.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching this and I was seeing all the Stardom wrestlers. I was like, I feel old. I'm not even old. But like, because obviously I keep saying this with like the new guys in New Japan, But like in New Japan, it's still fair. There's not many who are like, there's the Young Lions and like Akira and Callum who are younger than me. But for the most part, most of them are older than me. But in Stardom, I felt like 80% of them were younger than me. I was like, bloody hell, makes me feel a bit like, you know what I mean? They've achieved. And like you said, Momo is a veteran, but she's 24. Like, I'm not a veteran of anything at 28.
Like Mayu, they talk about her like she's like the Tanahashi of Stardom. She's 31. 32.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? She's,
Like,
a few years older than me. I'm like, thanks, guys. Thank you.
I was like, you can accomplish a lot. You can accomplish a lot in the young age.
I think it makes sense though, because a lot of female, I noticed this with Tokyo Joshi, is a lot of female wrestlers, they start young, but then they also tend to retire a lot younger than male wrestlers. So I kind of understand where this whole like we said with Momo, she might be young, but she's been doing it for so long because they do start so young. So I kind of get it, but still makes me feel very inferior.
Very fair there. We got I Make Beats. It says it was a fun show. I put it on yesterday morning. We got I Make Beats. It says caught most of it live, which was cool. He says it was good. It was okay when Tanahashi came out like 1976. Yeah. I felt young. Yeah. And then we also got Joe who says most of them I've seen for the first time. So this was an introduction kind of show, whether you're a Stardom fan and it's your first time watching New Japan in a while, or you're a New Japan fan and it's your first time watching Stardom in a while. It was nice for the cross-pollination of fans.
Can you imagine a Stardom fan who's never watched New Japan and they see Taguchi?
To be fair, yes, I can only imagine what they would think after, especially after this match.
I think I saw someone on Twitter say, like, they always make Taguchi have this really pervy, like, I understand he's the arse man, he's the Ketsu man, but I kind of feel bad that he's always put in that really pervy position.
I mean, it led to him getting low blowed and his ass murdered, so, I mean, yeah he got what he asked for.
Someone from Stardom watching that and going, why is this man obsessed with his arse and balls? Well, you know?
Why is all of his offense referring to his ass? Why is his nickname the Funky Weapon? Big Rand Dog says all Japan women's wrestlers used to be forced to retire when they were like 30, similar to Idols. And Chaco Pro says no, 25. God damn.
I think that's the thing. It's similar to, like you said, the idol culture, in the sense that even, I know with Tokyo Joshi, there was a period where like they couldn't date anyone. There was like no relationships allowed. Then they sort of relaxed it. It's like you couldn't have a relationship with someone in DDT or like a fellow one. But it's very common in like that sort of, especially for females, of like age, but also relationship status, because it's this idea of like, it's sad to say, but like you feel like you can be with them. Do you know what I mean? You have like an emotional attachment to them, but if they have, it's similar to K-pop idols. It's why many of them don't date, because it's like there's that sort of delusion that fans have, which helps sell tickets, helps sell merchandise. And again, that's probably why female wrestlers will stop, not only because obviously maybe some of them want to have a family, but also that might be the age where people in Japan thought, well, you can't promote them as, you know, like your crush, your teen girl crush, because a lot of them will want to start settling down and having a relationship.
Oh, that makes sense. When you explain it that way, that actually does make sense for them. But let's get into the show from yesterday morning, November 17th, 2024. This show took place from Osaka Edion Arena. What did you think about the crowd yesterday in Osaka?
It was interesting because Osaka is always great, but this was going to be interesting because there's been a whole discourse, we could talk about this forever and ever, about people's views on intergender matches and mixed wrestling, but the crowd were loving it, and I liked the crowd. I thought the crowd was very positive, and I guess it makes sense, because if they wanted to buy tickets, they'd buy it. If they didn't want to see it, they wouldn't. So you have people there who are very much for the concept.
Yeah, it worked like that. And Osaka, like we talked about during Power Struggles, one of the better crowds for New Japan Pro Wrestling, and apparently for Stardom as well. The opening kickoff pre-show matchup was Hanako teaming up with Aya Sakura to verse Rana Yakami and Sayaka Kororara. This one broke down with Hanako, who was the person that we knew the most when we were talking about this matchup on our preview. And we talked about how she's someone that it seems like Stardom is investing in. And we saw that here in the finish to the matchup after a couple of near falls by Korora. We get Hanako, who plummets her and hits her with the Argentine backbreaker for the victory here. This was fine for an opener. I like the kind of the chemistry between Hanako and Sakura as a team. And Hanako, like I said, I think she has the size and the look that she's going to be a star for Stardom in the next couple of years. What did you think about the pre-show?
She's 5'9". I searched it. I remember watching her and she came out and I was like to my mom, I was like, she is tall. So I searched it, 5'9", and she uses her height so well. She uses the strength. She is that domineering force. And yeah, I really like, she has that character. Again, I don't know anything about, like, you wouldn't know much about if you watched it, but she showcases what she is. She's that dominant force. She's tall. But yeah, I think all the women were really good in this match. It was a nice time they were given. And again, like I think I mentioned this in the when we did the previews, that they were like, yeah, we're on the pre-show, but we're gonna wrestle as if we're like in the main event. Do you know what I mean? They put everything out on the ring.
Yeah, that's what I like. I like that anyone, regardless of what position, you felt the effort from everybody on this show, and I agree with you. With the pre-show, you felt that a lot. Then you had the opening matchup on the main card, the Cosmic Angels, represented by World of Stardom champion Tam Nakano, along with her Artist of Stardom champion, co-champion Sari Anoi, to verse God's Eyes Shuri and Tamaka Inaba. This one was a hard-hitting matchup, especially whenever kind of like Sari and Shuri were in there together. They had some hard-hitting, very physically intense exchanges with one another. Inaba was showing that fiery offense against Nakano, but Nakano kept coming back with some big moves. And in the end, she picks up the victory with the screwdriver to silence the young Inaba. Inaba looked good, being the youngest of the four ladies in this matchup. Love the exchanges between Shuri and Anoi. They really kind of stole the show in this matchup with their hard-hitting offense. So I really enjoyed this opener to the show. I give it 3.5 stars. Makes sense for Tam Nakano to pick up the victory here, being the World of Stardom champion. And I like the fact that commentary focused so much on her current storyline and talking about how it seems like Saya Kamatani, after her attack during the Goddesses of Stardom tournament, it seems like she's going to be the next one who gets the shot at the end of year event Dream Queendom on December 29th against Tam Nakano. So this was a effective tag team matchup because it was a good matchup, and it also accomplished some things as far as like Shuri and Anoi, as well as keep building Tam Nakano's future title defense. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, because I watched the pre-show later because I wasn't getting up at 6:30 in the morning, so I got up at 7. But I was kind of sleepy, but this woke me up. These women were so fast. I said this on my own review, that we're used to fast wrestlers on the junior division, but this was on another level. Like, this was, like, I don't know how long the match was, but it seemed like from start to end, they were so fast. They worked effortlessly together, like each team worked well with each other, and it was so slick. Like, it was the perfect way to start the card, in my opinion. Just really nice wrestling, really showcasing the women. And like, it woke me up at 7 a.m.
Hey, it woke me up this morning. I watched it this morning. So yeah, it woke me up as well. Like just the way they were just hitting each other. I was just like, all right, y'all got me up. Y'all got my blood pumping. I know what's going on here.
You snapped me out of my tired days. I am ready to watch this show.
And that match went just over 10 minutes, but
yeah,
it felt even quicker.
Do you know what I mean? I feel like you always say that if a match feels like 2 minutes when it's longer, it's good, because if a match feels long, it means you're bored. It means you're waiting for the end.
Yeah.
And 10 minutes was great, but they even upped the ante by making it seem shorter.
Exactly. Well, when you talk about fast-moving, fast-paced action, got to talk about the next matchup. It was a 6-woman tag team matchup. Neo Genesis, represented by Mayu Azumi and Miyu Amasaki, versus the Hate faction, Konami, Rina, and Ruka. Just the Neo Genesis side are just some of the fastest professional wrestlers, regardless of gender. Like Azumi has always been known for that. She's the high speed kind of queen who held down that high speed championship for such a long time. Mayu has kind of taken that mantle, and in her second stint of her career after a young retirement, has came in and been the Stardom high speed princess. Miyu Amasaki's got that speed to her as well. The Hate faction, we talked about it on our preview. They could be hit or miss most times, but I like the underdog story with the baby faces from Neo Genesis overcoming the dirty tactics of Hate here, and it was a lot more entertaining, their heel antics and dirty tactics, than House of Torture. So yeah. I will not hear any of that on this show.
No slander, no comparison.
It was Neo Genesis getting the win with a diving double foot stomp by Azumi on Rina, and of course a victory in a big tag team matchup later on in the night would come to fruition on what was next for Azumi. But what did you think about this 6-woman tag team matchup here? I gave it 3.25 stars.
Obviously, you all know I'm biased. Me and Azumi best friends. But yeah, this was my first exposure to Hate, and I was like, because we spoke about this, we had all the conceptions, and then I think I Make Beat said there was a lot of hate on this show, but it wasn't in a bad way. When we see like more than one House of Torture match and we're like, for fuck's sake. Here I think there was like three or four matches.
Yeah, because if you count Momo, four. You're actually right, because Thekla's in Hate.
So I was fine with it. I had no issues, but when we watch a House of Torture match, you pray that there's like a 10-man multi-man match. So you just get them all done in one shot.
This is true. It's true.
But it was nice because it was a babyface versus heel. Always great. And Azumi getting the win was massive. And I think as soon as she got the win, I was like, right, SP3 was onto something. Let's watch out for the semi-main event.
But I love when I'm right, but I'm not all the way right. This was the fun I'm not all the way right, because they put the match on the show even bigger than the ones that I said.
You were thinking the end of year Stardom show, or maybe the 3rd of January. But then technically that would be big for them, but they really went, fuck you. We are doing it even big, because you also mentioned Wrestle Dynasty that could possibly, and they went, no, sorry. And I'm like, yes.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Bryan Danielson, and I was like, yes.
Oh man, but good matchup here. Like I said, I like Neo Genesis. I even enjoy Hate. I enjoyed the Hate. But
it's just because we have such low, because we thought House of Torture, we had such low expectations, and they surpassed it. They were like,
they surpassed it. We gave them low expectation, but they still surpassed it. So we got to.
They heard us. They were like, "You think we're House of Torture? We're going to prove you wrong."
Next up, we had 6-man tag team action, Sonal, as you had Hontai represented by Tiger Mask, as well as Bolton Oling teaming up with Toriano to verse United Empire's Jeff Cobb, Callum Newman, and Francisco Akira. This one was your regular kind of multi-man matchup that you could see on like any of the New Japan kind of shows. I didn't think that this one kind of stood out, especially in comparison to the match prior, because I don't always watch Stardom. I don't have that familiarity to it. I think with this one, I'm so familiar with these guys, and I've seen them have so many matches like this that if you put this in a row with a Row 2 multi-man matchup with the same guys, I couldn't tell you the difference. But in the end, it was a United Empire victory for them. You got Francisco Akira picking up the pin over Tiger Mask with the Fireball 99. So the UE picking up a victory here. Jeff Cobb on his way to the Tokyo Dome for Wrestle Kingdom, where he'll vie for the NJPW World Television Championship. while Akira will team up with TJP for Catch 2-2 to get a shot at the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. And I think Callum Newman will probably be in the Rambo. But this was kind of just there for me. I'll be honest. I wasn't into this too much. I give it 2 stars only because the guys are all good. But it wasn't anything that will stick out in my mind when thinking back on the show.
I think that's the thing. You were saying this, like maybe the Stardom fans thought the same about their match. Do you know what I mean? Because we see these guys in the ring so much that it's like, well, it's just a normal match. But maybe to Stardom, the Stardom matches were like, this is what we see, but the New Japan was different. 2 things to bring out of, because you mentioned the United Empire. 1, Jeff Cobb and Great O'Khan went karaoke after the show and were singing Backstreet Boys. Can someone tell me how I can get involved and go with them in January, because I need that to happen? People get on this, please. And
please, answer Sonal, please.
Secondly, interestingly enough, after the match, I've not watched the post-match, but there was an article that was posted on New Japan about Akira talking about intergender and having men and women in the ring more. Ended up getting deleted because of some of the comments on it. And this is what I was bringing up, the discourse we're speaking about. Everyone, because I think they were mentioning something about possibly having a Stardom branch of Empire, which again would be really interesting. I think they've been teasing that for a while. I swear when Ospreay was there, he was saying something about that.
One of the original members was B. Priestley.
So it was quite interesting because while many people were quite happy with it, there was quite a few of the replies, not the retweets, who were very much against the idea, saying like, oh, we will stop watching it. You can't do this, things like this. And I think, I didn't want to bring it up, but I thought this was quite interesting because it reinforces the whole rhetoric that's been going around that show to article, which, by the way, guys, was not even about the show and was from last year. Just want to put that out.
People get mad about it like a year later.
It's like you bring it back up when it seemed relevant, even though it has nothing to do with it. The topic of, because actually a lot of people have brought the idea that they want it more. I think the Okada of Stardom said he wants to see it more. Starlight Kid said in her post-match that she didn't understand why it had to be men versus men and women versus women, and why the only times we saw the women and men fighting was when the referee was distracted. So I think it's going to be, after this event, it's going to be interesting to see what both companies do and how they approach this. Do they go with doing more matches like this, having men and women be able to fight, or do they hear the few negative voices and go that way in fear of losing the loyal fans? It's interesting. I wanted to bring that up just because obviously Akira was in this match. So I think it's an interesting topic, something that isn't black and white. And it's going to be interesting to see how New Japan and Stardom work with that going forward.
I think the way they've been doing it as far as historic crossover, I thought to me, remembering the first one, and it was 2 years ago, and I have 2 4-year-olds, so excuse me if I don't remember correctly, but I thought I remember a lot more intergender action without like the stupid reasons for the referee to be distracted. I did peep that, and that was one of probably my nitpicks on the show, is that every 5 seconds to do any type of men versus women action, they had to have the referee look like an idiot and just get distracted over little things. And
I quite like that was brought up by Starlight Kid, that she was like, well, why is that the way it is? Because it's an interesting thing. I'm like you. I don't really remember 2 years ago, but it felt like there was like, out of the matches, I think it was the next match, the 8-man that had probably the most intergender stuff, and again, it probably helped that it was Mayu Iwatani. Mayu Iwatani doesn't mind making a fool out of himself to be a useless ref, like a useless bus driver. But with the Stardom ones, it almost felt a lot more forced of trying to get it, the intergender stuff.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see why and like how these decisions are made. Like who, because if the CEO of Stardom was like, why do you know what I mean, speaking about it more, it's interesting to see where the decision came from that it had to be men versus men, women versus women.
Yeah, I'd be interested to find that out for sure. But let's talk about that 8-person tag team matchup. It was Hate being represented by Natsuko Toro and Saya Kamatani, teaming up with the Bullet Club War Dogs, Drilla Maloney and Gabe Kidd to verse Wing Gori, the Hanan and Saya Ida, as well as Hiroshi Tanahashi, Risuke Taguchi of Hontai. There was some comedic back and forth action with Tanahashi and Taguchi going against Hate. Toro had no fear of the president, the ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi, while Taguchi had somewhat of a crush on Kamitani. Kamitani rushed around the ring with Hanan for a while. We got Maloney swiftly dispatched of Taguchi. We get Ida, who comes in and starts chopping the hell out of Drilla until Drilla fires back and hits her with a big chop that lays her out. A brawl ensues on the outside with Kamitani throwing Taguchi into the steel steps. Back in the ring, Toro slammed and throttled Ida. We get a whole big exchange in the ring with intergender action. We get Toru spitting the black mist into Tanahashi's eyes, while Kamitani low blows Taguchi, and what a sell he gave us, flexing the pecs there. And then that led to Gabe Kidd coming in, hitting the Drilla hole power driver for the 1-2-3 on Taguchi. Bullet Club War Dogs and Hate War Dogs picking up the victory here. Post-match, you had all the members of Hate and Bullet Club War Dogs assaulting Tanahashi, and Tora actually making a challenge to Tanahashi, saying that she wants him one-on-one. This was a lot of comedy, a lot of intergender warfare comedy. I did get a chuckle at a couple of things, like Hanan demanding the tag to be tagged in, only to be beat down by Drilla Maloney and Tora. So it was fun for what it was. I gave it 3 stars. What did you think?
I like to call them the Hate Dogs.
The Hate Dogs. That's good. The Bullet Club Hate Dogs.
Yeah, I think this match was never meant to be. As soon as you see Taguchi, it's never going to be the world's best wrestling match when you've got intergender. We love Taguchi. Taguchi's an amazing wrestler and he puts on amazing. But in this context, in multi-man, he is normally there to make it fun. And that he did. I really liked Toro's with when she spit mist in Tanahashi's face and then was going up to him after. I think it was great. This is sort of the core of what maybe we expected more from the other. Like we said, the other matches had some, but this felt like the one where the intergender was really on play. And I think it's nice that they used Taguchi to be that clown. Do you know what I mean? He was, out of all the 8 in the ring, Taguchi was the weakling. And that's a good thing about Taguchi, is he knows he's getting older and he puts himself in it. He doesn't mind having the piss taken out of him. Like, oh, you want the 2 women to hit me in the balls? That's fine. You want me to get thrown into chairs by someone who I'm trying to flirt with? That's fine. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was good. It won't be for everyone, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I even like Gabe Kidd flirting with Saya Kamitani post-match as well. So.
Yeah, it's always good when it's a fucking madman. You can't complain.
But yes, we do got a super chat donation here from Genesis J. Thank you so much, Genesis J. Appreciate the support. He says, can't stay, gotta go, but I'm all for Hate. They my dogs for real, for beating down Taguchi, that damn hentai.
Yeah, they keep pushing him as this perv, and like, it worked very well in this match.
Genesis J, you always crack me up with your super chat donation and comments. Thank you for the super chat donation. Big Man Dog says they might need to edit Gabe's theme so that we can get to the middle of the song. I fucks with Gabe's song. War, ready, Gabe, war, ready. I think the guys from Wrestle actually made that, one of the guys from over there. So I enjoy it. I like the theme song.
It's always fun. It's very Gabe.
It's very unhinged, and I love it, especially for Gabe Kidd. Next up was a match that I think exceeded my expectations the most, Sonal. The Great O-Khan defending the king of pro wrestling.
Yes.
2024 provisional championship against Suzuki. The corners were stacked with steel chairs, which Suzuki planned to use almost immediately, but Great Okan actually decided to use it otherwise. The imposing Okan ignored a bunch of Suzuki strikes early on, and it really wasn't until Suzuki started using the chair that she really gained any type of control of the matchup. She came out with a freaking board, a cardboard board that had a whole bunch of plastic forks in it, and she was using it in his mouth at one point. Much to Khan's terror, she stapled a picture of Khan's question mark on her own damn cheek. That just woke me up. I was drowsy this morning, but this immediately I was like, what the hell am I watching anymore? She then ripped it off of herself and stapled it to Okan's forehead, then started plastering him with steel chair shots. We get a garbage can is placed over Okan's body, and Suzuki starts smacking him up with the chair as well. They go to the entrance ramp. He finally regains his initial momentum with some physical strikes. He gets Suzuki in a couple of different freaking submissions. Suzuki then staples him in his crotch area, aiming to suplex Okan off of a ladder onto a table of spiked forks. He instead fights her off. He pushes her off of the ladder, and she falls through the spiked forks, but she still is able to kick out. He does an eliminator, dropped her on a garbage can on top of a horizontally prone ladder. And then finally, the Great Okan gets the victory here. This one, it should have, you should have heard some horror from the fans about, this woman getting brutalized by Great Okan. But I feel like the life of this matchup is when Suzuki was on offense on Great Okan. It made you actually believe that Suzuki could get the win here and become the KOPW 2024 provisional champion. I haven't had this much fun watching a matchup in Japan since probably the Despi Invitational, which had like 2 or 3 matches that I just smiled the whole time watching. But this was one of them. This was just like those. I gave this 4 stars. This was so much better than it had any right to be.
Problem is, this would have easily been like my favorite match on the card, but obviously, kind of little match of the year contender got slipped in. But this was, like you said, it surpassed all expectations. What I found quite funny, so Empire came out, and at first they were just there to hype, but you could see at the moment Suzu got the offense. So when as soon as like the forks were in her mouth and she did the drop kick, it turned to concern. The Empire were like, shit, maybe we should leave. Maybe this is not. We thought we were just gonna hype him up, but we might need to protect him. And the expression on Okan's face changed. He started off very like cocky, very arrogant. And we said this in the preview that Suzu, her best shot is to use the deathmatch stuff, because it's not even like a women versus men thing. Okan is generally bigger than a lot of like most people on the New Japan roster. Do you know what I mean? He's a big man. So do you know what I mean? If you put him against Despi or someone in this kind of match, they would do the same thing. And I love how that moment when she started using it, the crowds were chanting her name. Everyone was like you said, everyone thought she was gonna win. And Okan looked physically terrified as like more stuff. Like you said, the staple, when she stapled her cheek, he was like, she's crazy. Like I thought I'd be crazy. I thought I was crazy, but she's crazy.
She's out of her mind. She's out of her mind. I'm scared. That's what he looked like.
Like literally, I think honestly, because this was the only match of its kind. The only match where men and women directly fighting. And I think we need one of these. If they're going to do another one next year, give us more of these. But again, I think it's only a certain kind of person will do it. Not everyone is going to be open to doing this.
Yeah, I think like the ones that come off the head that would do that from this, or could do that, and it's like it can come off as a realistic match, is Suzuki. Probably MAIKA, Starlight Kid, you could put in that conversation as well.
The ones who are more in the intergender ones. And for New Japan, maybe like, I feel like Tana could do it. Like, I feel like Tana would do it. Despi, Probably any of the War Dogs, to be fair, because that's the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
But
they did.
yeah, but I think like this worked really well, and also like props to this. Okan has been using the they pronouns, which I think that was bringing up, and I think the interesting thing about this is that I almost interpret it as for Okan is no gender, it's wrestling. Do you know what I mean? Which is why he set this match. He was like, well, wrestling is not men's wrestling or women's wrestling. It's wrestling in general. And I think Chris replied to someone and he said, rather than like focusing on gender, it's that Okan wants to be seen as Great Okan. And I like that. I think that has been particularly pushed coming up to this show. And I quite like that. I like that.
I do too. Great stuff by Okan and Suzuki there.
We love them both. We love them both.
Then we had some mixed tag team action as it was Taichi of Just Four Guys teaming up with Natsupoi. Natsupoi of Cosmic Angels, the Wonder of Stardom champion, as they faced the Bullet Club War Dogs, Clark Connors, and Hates Thekla. This one was probably the match that got the most amount of build heading into this event. Early on, you get Hate immediately jump Taichi and Natsupoi, with Cosmic Angels coming to the latter's defense. With that chaos out of the way, each team started brawling around ringside. You get Natsupoi stood her ground, started going at it with Thekla in the ring. We get Thekla, who hits a beautiful spider superplex and then tries to follow up, but she's not able to get the pinfall. The match breaks down where all four competitors are in the ring. You get an armbar by Natsupoi on Thekla, but Thekla is able to find her way out and erase. Thekla was halted by Taichi, and she struck him with her cast. Her cast became a factor throughout this matchup as well. Connor struck Natsupoi across the face after that punch with the cast, and then he looked for the spear with Thekla holding Natsupoi, but Taichi pushes Natsupoi out of the way, and Connor spears Thekla instead. He then takes out Connors out of the way, and Natsupoi follows up with the Fariel gif for the 1-2-3, Natsupoi and Taichi picking up the victory here. This was the nice little kind of like a happy ending type of mixed tag team matchup with a very well-known heels in Thekla and Connors being overcome by the babyface duo of Taichi and Natsupoi. I love how they talked about throughout the matchup that Taichi has a lot of anger towards Bullet Club War Dogs after the betrayal of Sonata. So it felt like there was actual kind of real emotion to this matchup, and I thought that Natsupoi and Taichi made a good team, but the chemistry between Connors and Thekla was off the charts. I thought that they made a very good duo together, where I wouldn't even mind them splitting off from Hate and Bullet Club War Dogs and becoming an act themselves that can go from Stardom to New Japan and stuff like that. So very well done matchup. It paid off the build going into the matchup, so I enjoyed it. I gave it 3.5 stars. What did you think?
Yeah, I really liked it. Like I said, the chemistry between Thekla and Clark Connors was great. But I also like this like older brother, younger sister between Taichi and Natsupoi. Even something as simple as like when they came out, Natsupoi obviously has her white ring gear, and Taichi kept his, like obviously his pants still black, but he kept that white ring gear for like his entrance. Yeah. And it was really nice seeing, like, again, it wasn't as much as the other match, but I think the effectiveness of the intergender stuff was much more like prominent, much more like proper wrestling. Like I was literally scrolling on Twitter and the thrust kick that Natsupoi gave to Clark, and then the whole spear. It was just great. And like as a New Japan fan, obviously the whole link to the storyline with just four guys.
Just 4 guys.
I'm fine, guys. I'm okay. Just 4 guys and War Dogs. It was a really nice, way to bring that storyline into it, and I really enjoyed it. Like you have the heels, like obviously Natsupoi and Taichi with the baby faces. Can you imagine a few years ago saying Taichi is the baby face?
It's crazy. But here we are.
Yeah, and then even like Clark Connors changed his ring gear. We've not seen him in the little shorts for a while. So to have that to match Tekla's like ring gear. It was very nice. I liked it. Again, I just wish there was more intergender stuff, but baby steps. We'll take baby steps at this point.
Yeah, this was a nice little baby step, a nice little program that they worked heading into a historic crossover as well. But it's now time to talk about the match you said that you had to watch twice because it was so good.
I don't watch matches twice often. I don't watch them twice because I don't have time for that.
I might have to watch this twice as well. I might have to watch it again.
Worth it.
Because it was for the IWGP Women's Championship, Mayu Iwatani versus Momo Watanabe. You got a lot of the history kind of talked about on commentary between these two ladies and Mayu's dominance over Momo. Momo only scoring 1 victory out of 7 different matches between her and Mayu Iwatani. A lot of scouting of Watanabe's every move with Mayu using her agility to work around it. She got off to a very hot start. We got the predictable hate interference, though, leading to Iwatani to fall prey to an outside beatdown by the group. Due to this, Watanabe stayed in full control, battering the hell out of the champion, hitting big move after big move, wearing down Mayu, getting into Mayu's head, but Mayu would never stop fighting, always fighting from underneath. You get Ruka accidentally struck Watanabe, and Iwatani took full advantage, going off with some suplexes as well as some big thrust kicks. Following a spill to the outside, the woman returned and started firing off consecutive strikes. Iwatani won that battle and then hits a high fly flow for a 2 count. We get the champ in full control. She opted for a series of finishers. She hits a moonsault, but barely is not able to put Momo away after Hate pulled the referee from the ring. Watanabe then grabs the baseball bat, the signature baseball bat of her entire run, with it going from the Oedo Tai to Hate. But she throws the bat down and decides she's going to do it on her own. Some great storytelling there, because it was a commentary talked about how Mayu told her like she's never been able to beat her without cheating, even the one time that she has been able to beat her, and she decides not to cheat. But that is kind of was her deathfall, because deciding not to cheat against Mayu Iwatani is always the wrong decision, because Mayu hits a big jolt of offense. She hits her springboard double jump, poison Rana, and then a big kick to the head, but she only gets a 2. But then she follows up with the 2-step dragon suplex to pick up the victory here. An absolutely excellent matchup between these two ladies. The chemistry was off the charts here, but they went at it over 24 minutes, going back and forth. Iwatani, it has one of the best movesets of anyone on the Stardom roster, and Mayu might have the best moveset of anyone in women's wrestling. So you were not going to go like off this one with like just regular moves. This was high impact. Some big moves, some big finishers, some great near falls. Love the spot with Momo deciding not to cheat. It was very reminiscent of WrestleMania 8, where Roddy Piper decided not to cheat against Bret Hart for the Intercontinental Championship. And then the respect being shown between both ladies in the post-match. Momo showing her respect to Mayu. Mayu calling Momo one of her best opponents. And then even better than that was Mayu Iwatani getting on the mic after Momo left and saying that she will not only defend the IWGP Women's Championship against anyone on the Stardom roster, she wants to do it on January 4th in the Tokyo Dome. She wasn't able to be on the January 4th show this year, so that is why she has fought her ass off, held this title for now over 574 days, and she will now go to the Tokyo Dome January 4th, Wrestle Kingdom, and defend the title one more time. And it was none other than Azumi, who defeated Mayu Iwatani in the 5-star Grand Prix over this past fall. And now she wants to cash in the opportunity based on that victory at a shot at the IWGP Women's Championship. And that match has been made official for Wrestle Kingdom on January 4th, the first of 2 days in the Tokyo Dome. What a match this was. This was great. Like, Mayu Iwatani's IWGP Women's Championship reign did not start off the best. It was, we even talked about it after she won the title at All-Star Grand Queendom last year. We was like, man, she hasn't defended the title that much at all, but she has just slowly but surely been racking up title defense after title defense, match of the year candidate after match of the year candidate. This year alone, her match with Shuri, her match with Saray, her match with Timeless Toni Storm, all great, fantastic matches that are among the best women's matches of the year. This one had a little bit more kind of story driven to it with Momo and kind of her character arc, where this is now the second time I've seen in recent months that Momo has kind of leaned towards that if she is going to get the job done, get the big victory, she wants to do it on her own. She's kind of gone against Oedo Tai, almost cost them the faction must split up matchup a couple of months back. But here, her not wanting to do the dirty tactics of hate was the reason why Mayu was able to pull off the last bit of offense that got her the win. I thought this was absolutely tremendous stuff. 4.5 stars from me. What did you think, Sonal?
Yeah, it was amazing. Like, I think I was a bit worried at first because, there was the hate interference and I got like flashbacks. I got House of Torture flashbacks. But again, that was the only time. That was the only time they really massively got involved and did anything of worth. And again, like you said, the moment when Momo had the weapon and she didn't use it. Why can't House Torture never done that? House Torture don't give a shit. But that's the thing. This was the wrestling itself was phenomenal. Like, you expect that. But again, it was the storytelling and the narrative. Because with Japanese wrestling, I think you kind of low-key expect really good wrestling. But then it's that storyline that takes it to another level. Do you know what I mean? Like, most of these matches were great. They were fine. But this one had that story in it. And similar to the match before, like with Taichi and Clark and that. This was like, in my opinion, I understand why it wasn't. This should have been the main event. But maybe it was a thing that they didn't expect it to be as good. They knew it was going to be good. But with the names they had in the main event, they're like, it's not going to be that good. But like, I think even like, was it like Despy or something said they were like, the match before this was like phenomenal. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it was Despy. It was definitely like someone in the main event. It was like, yeah, they had that. And I'm like, any other card that would have been a main event. But I kind of liked that it was here because if you were a bit tired, if you were a bit, it woke you up because you were like, oh. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you need a huge match like this in the semi-main event just to keep everyone like awake and snapping.
Yeah. Some of the best matches that I've seen from New Japan, like before, like Okada and Omega tore up the main event scene. A lot of the best matches on the major New Japan shows were the semi-main event, were the Intercontinental title matches or IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship matches.
The junior ones are always very good as well.
Yeah, but this is now back to back that I think that to the two historic crossovers, the IWGP Women's Championship matchup stole the show. I thought at the first one, Kairi and Mayu was the best matchup, just a shade over the Shooter versus Ospreay matchup on that show. But here, then this was so much better than I thought it would be because I've seen them face each other before. Yeah. I saw them in the 5-star Grand Prix, and it was a very good matchup. But I didn't expect it to be fantastic. One of the best women's matches of the year.
I think that's the thing. We said this with Suzu and Okan, you expect stuff, just generally you expect because of the people of like their talent. But when it surpasses even that, then that's where you're like, yes, that's professional wrestling for you.
And just how the crowd got so invested. The crowd was really the thing that kind of picked this up even better for me. I really, really thoroughly enjoyed this one. Chaco saying Momo reminded everyone she is one of the best in the world. And I think that she doesn't get the credit of everybody else in Stardom. Momo Watanabe, I think it's mainly because she hasn't won the big one, hasn't won the World of Stardom Championship. And now they've kind of like her record as the Wonder of Stardom champion.
I saw that.
It got taken away by Saya Kamatani. So you can kind of forget how good Momo Watanabe was, but this was a big reminder to everybody, and especially being in the two main heel factions of the past 5 years with the Wado Tai and now Hate. You can tend to forget that she is one of the best.
I think that's the thing with, well, like, I mean, maybe not everything, but when you think of best wrestlers, and you always say it's very rare you're gonna say heel. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But because that's just sort of a thing, isn't it? It's like you don't go and watch like a superhero film and you go, "Who's your favorite character?" This is the villain. It's a very rare thing. So, in one way, like Momo's talent and the fact that people are saying that now shows that she's even better than anything because she's getting people to realize this when she's a heel. It's again just a shame that like it's not coming out in like the typical way that people count success. But I always think that success is how people think of you. And this match, she's still so young. But I feel like this match is
24.
really...
It's fucking insane. She's 24. And she the last time that they gave her, like, and she's been stepping up in these big opportunities, because the last time that we saw her for like New Japan fans was the Capital Collision match with Mercedes. And that's by far Mercedes' best matchup in the past 4 months. And
you could say that, okay, as good as Mercedes is, it's probably a lot down to Momo. Do you know what I mean? Because it's similar. I don't want to put them in the same because Momo's so young, but you know, like guys like Hiroki Goto and things like that. You can put like Shingo Takagi. Even I don't want to say it, but if you put them evil in with those two, the match it's going to be shit still, but it's going to be slightly less shit just because of them. Do you know? Awful.
Slightly less shit.
But you know what I mean? It's Momo has the ability to bring out the best in everyone as a heel, and as a heel, that is an excellent thing to do because it's not often that you can do that because heels are meant to be very much like me.
Exactly. She's very giving. She is great at selling. And like I said before, her offense, like the Black Peach driver, the Black Peach suplex, like those type of moves, no one else is doing it. Or everyone's doing it because they take most of their moves from Joshi. Like, yeah. It's either one or the other. But yeah, this was a really tremendous matchup between those two ladies that everyone should go out of their way to watch. But
watch it twice. Watch it 3 times. It is. I mean, I'll probably go back and watch it in a few days. To be fair.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it before I do my star ratings on Wednesday. So maybe it gets above 4.5. Yeah, it's gonna be one of the top matches of last week for sure. But finally, we got the main event, mixed tag team action, IWGP World Heavyweight Champion and G1 Climax 34 winner, Zack Sabre Jr. teaming up for the first time with the 5-star Grand Prix winner, MAIKA, to verse El Desperado and Starlight Kid. Love the entrance for Starlight Kid and Despy here, coming out with the half and half mask for both of them. One half Starlight Kid, one half Desperado. You had Desperado and Sabre going at it with more like technical and hard hitting from Despy, but more technical wrestling and working over the arm by Zack Sabre Jr. MAIKA and Starlight Kid just were great in this matchup together. I thought anytime they were in there together, they really worked hard. Fast paced. Starlight Kid is just so fast in that ring. She's sometimes a blur. You get her trying to put on we get dual numeral doses by both Despy and Starlight Kid late into the matchup until MAIKA is able to hit a big rolling lariat on Desperado. She later gets the win for the team, hitting a Michinoku driver on Starlight Kid, while Sabre hits the Zack driver on Despy, and then she picks up Starlight Kid for one more Michinoku driver to pick up the victory here. MAIKA and Sabre Jr., the G1 and 5-star winner, getting the win here over the brother-sister combo, the masked duo that is El Desperado and Starlight Kid. Very fun main event to the show. Very good matchup. Overall, in my opinion, I give it 3 3/4 stars. This was a nice, fun way to close the show. But if I am to give it a nitpick or in retrospect, I think the IWGP Women's Championship matchup should have main evented this show. This felt more like a matchup you would put right after the Thekla and Connors versus Taichi and Natsupoi match, not the main event of the show.
I think that's the thing about. I think we've said this about another New Japan one. Like, I can't remember which one, but it's like technically this one should have been the top one because obviously it fits everything that this show's about. It's got the champion. It was Despi's return. The problem came with that Momo and Iwatani tore the house down, like in every single way. I mean, like, I love this match. I think it was great. We know that Starlight Kid and Despi work so well with each other. I really like the moment where Starlight Kid was trying to square up with Zack, and obviously she's on the smaller side, so Zack was always just like looking above her. I like stuff like that. Someone small, I quite like that. And again, there was a few moments of I like the double Michinoku driver. Shout out to Taka.
Yes.
Shout out to Taka. But yeah, I think the weakness of this match came from what it followed. and I think the problem is that you wouldn't, again, like we said, you expect the match to be good, but nobody probably expected it to be as good as it was. That the quality would beat, or that everything in general would beat, again, two of New Japan's top stars and two very popular and very skilled Stardom wrestlers.
Yeah, it was in a tough position. I thought it was a very good matchup. I thought everybody performed really well. Like I said, I really enjoyed MAIKA going at it with Starlight Kid, and also MAIKA going at it with Desperado. That was a lot of fun. Just her clotheslining and suplexing Desperado, tossing him around like he's a regular sized human being. It's just so much fun. MAIKA's so much fun and so powerful for what she could do in the ring, unlike any of the other ladies from Stardom. I really enjoy MAIKA's work. Really enjoy Starlight Kid, where she has that charisma that you could just see even with her wearing a mask. So this was a nice matchup on paper to put in the main event, but in practice and result, IWGP Women's Championship matchup should have headlined the show.
Again, no, it's like you said, it's retrospect. Nobody was going to know it was going to tear the house down. But then again, maybe it being semi-main event added to it as well, because you don't expect anything massive to come out of that. And I think maybe people went in with expectations, and because it was where it was and because it surpassed it, everyone's like, and people are talking about it more because they're like, well, it should have been the main event. It should have been the main event. So I think maybe it worked to their benefit in a sense.
Yeah, you could take it that way as well. That is true. But let's hear what y'all have to think. What did you think about the NJPW Stardom Historic X-over II or Historic Crossover 2? Let us know in the live chat. Final call for super chat donations. If you want to show some love to us over here, send a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. Goes back to the contributors that we see on screen with us here. But we also want to hear your match of the night, your MVP, your LVP, your thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle for the show overall. I have a couple of comments to highlight here. Chaco saying, Starlight Despi main eventing made sense. They were the big talking point from the last X-over, and everyone loves them. Plus, ZSJ and MAIKA being the aces. Yeah, like I said, on paper, this was the right match to do. But I think with the history of Historic Crossover being the event where you crown the first IWGP Women's Championship matchup, plus Mayu Iwatani's status as the ace of Stardom more. I think like you could say MAIKA's the new ace, but the ace overall, the top star, is still Mayu Iwatani. And as well as the post-match, making a match for Wrestle Kingdom. That's more of a better cliffhanger than everybody going home being like, hey, that was great. We had a nice little friendly main event matchup.
I mean, we all like a nice, happy, yay, 4 people in the ring, yay, we love each other. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, it is true. That is true. But yes, let's put our thumbs in the middle, Sonal, for NJPW X Stardom Historic Crossover 2 in 3, 2, 1. Thumbs up across the board from both of us. Out of 10, what did you give the show, Sonal?
I'm going to give it an 8. On the hindsight, like the matches were all great. Again, match of the, I think my issue is this men and men, women and women. I think if we can get sort this issue out and figure out what's going on and maybe get a bit more freedom, which is what a lot of the wrestlers want, which maybe some of the fans don't. But if we can find a good balance for it, I think you can elevate it. Like, for goodness sake, that Suzu and Okan match was phenomenal. Come on, you tell me you don't want to see more of that.
I'm down for it. And yes, good point by Alex Paul. We got to all pray, do a prayer circle. Mayu and Azumi get time at Wrestle Kingdom.
I think, you know what, at first I was worried as well, but Chris tweeted, he retweeted like, this is possible, could steal the show. So I think that if Chris is saying, it must seem like there's a bit of like investment from behind, like from the officers. But then again, we need to realize that time doesn't always equate to how good something is. Like junior matches, like I think one that I always think of, the junior tag matches are never that long. But for me, they're always one of my favorite. They're normally only about 10 minutes.
10 minutes at best,
some of the strongest. I think it's fair, you want to give them time, but then you've got the thing of sometimes giving too much time. So just give them the right amount of time that they need to showcase who they are and to make people go, shit, that's amazing.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I'm going to go 7.5 out of 10. I think that if you get like one more great match or one more match that exceeds expectations, this is an 8 out of 10 show, but 7.5, very enjoyable show, very entertaining show, multiple good matches, and one great match of the year candidate as well on the show. So always a thumbs up there.
Can I just say, Alex Powell, Gabe Kinnan, an intergender match. I'll fight him. I'm not a wrestler. I'll fight him.
You heard that, Gabe? You better not say. You better respond to this challenge. She said, "I'll fight him. I'll fight him."
I'm not a wrestler. I did a month training in like 2020 before the pandemic, but you know it's. Okay, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna regret saying that now.
I love the bass in your voice. You was like, "I'll fight him. I'll fight him."
Can you imagine a fucking madman from Nottingham facing a small girl, a small Asian from Manchester? People pay for that. I pay for that.
That sounds like a perfect matchup. Sign me up. I'll buy my New Japan World subscription for that.
We can do it while I'm there for Wrestle Kingdom. Do it in the Coaching Hall.
Book it. He doesn't have a match for January 4th, right? There we go. No, we'll be there. Fuck it. All right, match of the night, Sonal. I think this is easy for both of us. Mayu Iwatani and Momo Watanabe.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna be different. I was like, oh, we'll go for Okana, but you can't deny Momo versus Iwatani. Like that is like. I'm still going to be talking about it next week. I'm still going to be talking about it at the end of the year. When you decide to come to me and say, Sonal, you need to tell me the match of the year, this will be on there.
There we go. You heard it here first. Yes, we're a couple of weeks away before I'm going to start hitting up the True Hill Heat crew for our end of year list. I did see earlier, I think it was I Make Beats. He must not know about the end of the year on True Hill Heat. He is new to the channel, new member to the channel. But yes, we do our top 10 best male wrestlers of the year, top 10 best women's wrestlers of the year, top 10 best matches of the year, top 10 major shows of the year. So we do our list to end off 2024. So be on the lookout for that. That's going to be voted on by not only us here on the channel, but some of our members and Patreon backers. We leave it up to y'all as well. It's not just our voice that's going to be heard. It's going to be all of yours. And we even put up some polls on the community chat so all the subscribers can get involved in our year-end list. And of course, we got the True Hill Heat year-end awards, which is usually the last show of the year or the first show of 2025. And of course, with 2025, from 2024 to 2025, you also got to be on the lookout for our NJPW Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty previews. We might have to do it early so we can get Sonal on one of those before she leaves, but we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, don't be doing it on like January the 2nd while I'm flying. Don't.
No, we're gonna do it on either the 30th or no.
Honestly, no, I'm like ahead of like my flight and stuff. I'm like planning this. I'm like, right, I've got to record this and this before I go. But then while I'm in Japan, I want to get, because obviously I'm going there for wrestling, but we're going with family, so we're going to do it. So I'm like, right. So I need to get a review for Wrestle Kingdom out that day. But then I also need to go for Wrestle Dynasty, and I'm trying to sort it out. And guys, it's so, like, if you think going to Wrestle Kingdom is tough to organize, try doing that and being a New Japan content creator. Because my brain is like,
Her brain is like exploding before her eyes.
honestly, I'm just like, and I want to try and get in karaoke with Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb. Like, well, how am I going to do all this?
You're already got me exhausted. I'm exhausted just hearing all of that. Jesus. What is Sonal gonna do? But yes, we'll have previews for both of those shows. We'll have reviews for all of those shows. I believe Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty on Saturday and Sunday, right? So
Yeah.
we'll see what the schedule is like for the flagship podcast, because we usually do it on
the
Sunday.
Sunday's quite early as well. The Sunday is an early show.
Yeah, so I don't. Maybe we'll do the flagship podcast on Sunday that week, and then we'll do the Wrestle Dynasty review on Monday. We'll probably do the Wrestle Kingdom review on the same day, like we've been doing with a couple of these, and then we'll do Wrestle Dynasty review the following day. So yes.
Wait, sorry, can I just bring up? I make beats. Kaneoki. Yeah, that is funny. That is funny. That is really funny. If you get me to do karaoke with us, I will do a video title it Kaneoki.
You heard it here first. Let's make it happen. Hit up Great O'Khan on all his social medias.
Jeff Cobb as well, because I feel like Jeff Cobb is also very active. See you, Jeff Cobb.
Sonal, what was your MVP for the show? Who was?
I'm gonna say Momo. Because, I mean, you could say it could be Mayu, but I think, as I mentioned earlier, being a heel and gaining that reaction, she was that storytelling aspect, you know, where she dropped to the bat, she wanted to do everything clean, which obviously worked to her detriment. And I just think, for someone so young, she is so phenomenal. And, like, I know it's a cliche, but I guess it's only like the start. She's got so long to go and so much she can achieve. And I just hope that this match opens a lot of eyes.
I'm going to go different, and I'm going to go co-MVP for Great O'Khan and Suzu Suzuki. Like I said, that was the match that exceeded my expectations the most, so I'll give match of the night to Momo and Mayu, but the MVP, I'll give it to Great O'Khan and Suzu Suzuki. LVP for the show, I am going to give it, unfortunately, to Ryosuke Taguchi, because he did not have a good night.
Yeah, the arse man, the funky weapon, it wasn't having. He tried flirting, didn't work. Got flung into some chairs, had several low blows. I mean, even Tanahashi, to be fair, got mist in his face, getting beaten up. Hontai, really, let's just say Hontai.
Hontai had a bad night. Yeah. Hontai had a bad night. And yes, Chaco says Momo just had her 10th anniversary in wrestling. 10 at 24.
She was 14 when she started. Do you know what I was doing when I was 14? I was going to McDonald's after school. I didn't do no extra. I was doing a choir. That's about it. I was just chilling.
I was just playing basketball after school every day.
Better than I did. I didn't do anything. Me and athletic stuff don't work.
Because like we don't really mix like that. So there we go.
Me watching wrestling and doing YouTube is the extent to my athletics.
Hey, good on you. We got Chaco who says LVP Shoto Aminu for not wanting to be there.
I mean, we don't know. We don't know that he said he didn't want to be there, guys. The articles from last year, there was no mention of historic crossover. There were several big names who weren't there. We don't know whether, obviously, ahead of World Tag League, if they wanted to, like we know Shota's not in the best condition, similar to guys like Naito. So yeah, let's not send hate, because bless, Shota's been getting a lot of hate, and he doesn't need added with misinformation, because many people think that article was about historic crossover too. It was not. It was nothing to do with this event.
You hear Sonal. She's got the facts. She knows what she's talking about. That's why we love having her on this channel to talk some NJPW, and we got plenty more to talk about because you got World Tag League, which starts tomorrow morning. I believe we'll have our video previewing that. That will be up on our Patreon probably tonight, so be on the lookout for that. As well as we got, what else do we have? Yeah, we have the end of World Tag League with the World Tag League final, and then we got Strong Style Evolved. Yeah, Strong Style Evolved in December. So we got those two shows, the tournament and a show to talk about before the end of 2024.
Yeah, but then we got Road to Wrestle Kingdom and
never stops, never ends. And for Stardom, they are on the road to Dream Queendom, as well as they are having their tag team tournament. So we'll try to keep on lock, keep our attentions peeled to what's going on in Stardom. We'll talk a little bit more about historic crossover on the True Hill Heat Flagship podcast coming up next Saturday. But thank you to Sonal for joining us live today. Want to give you the floor. Let everybody know where they can follow you on social media, what you got going on your channel, and when they will see you again.
yeah, so you can find me on Sonal's Life on YouTube. I have posted yesterday, straight after the show, I posted the Historic X-over II review, but I also have my own World Tag League preview looking at all the blocks and things. Make sure to follow me on the X for Historic X-over at wrestling_chat. You can find out when I post videos. I live tweet. You can find out when I'm here. And that at wrestling_chat is what you want to tag when you are asking Great Khan and Jeff Cobb to take me to karaoke in January. And I mean, if you want to, I don't know, tell Gabe Kid that I challenged him, which was probably a stupid thing to do. You can also tag me on there.
She challenged Gabe Kid. She wants to fight. She wants all the smoke with Gabe Kid. You heard it here first. You heard it here first.
I'm probably going to regret saying that. I'm probably going to regret that massively. Oh, well.
Follow me on the Twitter machine at True Hill SP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at True Hill Heat. Patreon.com/True Hill Heat. $3 a month gets you exclusive content. The best place to support us when we are not live here. And we'll have our World Tag League 2024 preview over on there. And check out all the great content we got on the channel right now, like True Hill Heat 303 from this past Saturday. Our new cut from the True Hill Heat Flagship podcast with who is the most important member of the OG bloodline. We'll be having more cuts from the True Hill Heat Flagship podcast like that as well coming up this week. And we got our preview for AEW Full Gear on Friday. We got our AEW Dynamite review on Thursday, Saturday, the Flagship podcast, and Sunday, our AEW Full Gear review. So a lot to enjoy here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. For Sonal, it is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. I will be back with you live tomorrow, 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time with Rated Raw Review, reviewing tonight's Monday Night Raw. But until then, this has been our NJPW X Stardom Historic Crossover 2 review. We are signing off until next time.